I can honestly say that it is a passion. We have these ways of saying that we are providing with honesty the ways to solve and resolve some of the issues and problems that you have for transportation, enjoyment, or anything related to connect with a bike.
Welcome to the Hidden City Podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Doug, and we're here to share some of the incredible stories and people from Oak Cliff that you might not know.
We're going to sit down with some of the visionaries, craftsmen, and business owners who have shaped Oak Cliff into what it is today.
Oak Cliff is on the south bank of the Trinity River, a few miles south of downtown Dallas. While technically it was part of Dallas, it was its own city for a long time, and it still has that independent spirit.
We'll dive into the history and the spirit of this place, exploring the different challenges and successes that defined it.
This is The Hidden City, a podcast about the people and the stories that make Oak Cliff extraordinary. Welcome to this episode of the Hidden City Podcast. We are so excited to have our friend Jorge Samano here, who is the founder of Oak Cliff Bike Synergy. He's a neighbor here in Oak Cliff and a neighbor to us from Wax Space and the brewery and all the things at Tyler Station. So, Jorge, thanks for being on the show today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to be here.
That's awesome.
It's so
man.
cool.
It's so fun to sit down with you. We've gotten to know you over the years and all your good work here. But
Thank you.
I wonder if we could maybe start at the beginning of your life, go back a ways and talk about where you grew up and
Hit us up with your childhood.
tell us what life was like in the early days.
In the early days, I was born in Mexico, in the Chihuahua state.
Yep.
The capital of the Chihuahua state is Chihuahua City.
Mm-hmm.
And that's long time ago, 1960. So
Nice.
you can
All right.
imagine, okay? A very particular era.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's been a while.
Okay.
So I'm 64 years
Nice.
old and
Nice.
still going for life. So
That's
more, I hope.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, your name's synonymous in Oak Cliff with bikes, so we got to go into some of this. What
Okay,
drew
yeah,
you
for
to
sure.
bikes and cycle culture, and love to know that connection more.
Well, it's since I was little, definitely breakaways. You know, it's there is a bike somewhere around, and you go for it, and then you like, and then all of a sudden, as a teenager, I started to go for the Tour de France and many other races, being so important in Mexico. And
You would watch those, or
yeah, I
nice.
would be watching those, and I was living in San Luis Potosí when I was in my teens. That's central Mexico, and it's a very particular way to go for racing and all these people involved in cycling. It's a very famous way, to say the least, for all these small towns and small cities to be pretty much into it.
Yeah.
It's very famous, like Colombians, and many other Latin American countries where there are very good cycling figures
in the
actually,
culture.
I should
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
So from there, I started to go for the first road bike, I should say, where I was trying to emulate, some of these guys.
Yeah.
And then I started to go for learning from some other people involved, and they would invite us, young people. And then we had a team, and then we started to train. And from there, it's an ongoing situation for, I don't know, way too many years, up until my mid-20s.
Okay.
That I went for mountain biking
Okay.
when it exploded. And then I'll let you know about that too. Man.
Yeah, because-
That's something else.
Because mountain biking was a big, it was a big thing, or it was a thing that was coming up culturally. And if I remember correctly, you helped kind of bring mountain biking in some ways. You were there in the early days of mountain biking in Mexico, right?
Correct. Yeah, basically in the north of Mexico. Okay, and that I can say north of Mexico because
You
it
can
was
claim
several,
that. Yeah.
several cities that were getting involved into it
Okay.
when they didn't know anything about it. And it was starting to catch up, and then catch on as regular ways in El Paso, which is the neighbor city for Ciudad Juarez in the state of Chihuahua as well, border towns. And we started to go for all these magazines, basically magazines. There was no internet, as for what we know it all right now.
Yeah, there's
and
nothing,
Facebook,
nothing
and,
like
and then
that.
YouTube, and
This is how you got
WhatsApp,
shown,
and whatever.
and- yeah,
So
yeah.
it was different for the ways we were connecting.
Yeah.
People going to the bicycle shops, talking about it, having gatherings and meetings in some particular places. I used to have a restaurant on the Mexican side in Ciudad Juarez. I mean, it was a family-owned business. My parents started it, and that was the point of meeting, for all these Sundays where we would go
It's a gathering place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for mountain biking. But mountain biking at that particular time, it was custom building bikes. It was regular road bikes or clunkers, the cruiser bikes.
Oh, so you were kind of having to modify
Exactly.
existing road bikes.
Our good example was Gary Fisher and all these guys, in California and then Colorado and then Arizona and many other places. It's amazing. Magazines were the way to go
Yeah.
at that particular time.
Yeah.
How you got recognized, how you got your story out. Yeah.
Exactly. So from there on, I mean, it started to become trendy. People started to go for asking more about it. And so we have to organize and go for having to know more than trying to get good, heavy, and very expensive mountain bikes from the U.S.
Yeah.
And then from there on, it was organic. It started to evolve
Yeah.
very rapidly. So we started to go for races, properly organized, because we needed to go to Mexico City to register this new trend, new way to go for cycling. And because of it, without bragging about it, but yes, we started in a way so that it was a bunch of people. But basically, it was another 3 or 4 of my friends and myself that started to go for things and meetings in my restaurant.
That's
And from there on, it's
It went
amazing
off for that.
how,
Maybe like
how it went.
basically institutionalized in some ways with when you went to Mexico City, the
Correct.
idea of mountain biking as
Yeah,
a sport
correct.
in
Yeah,
Mexico.
I
That's
like
really
the
neat.
word.
You're like
Yeah.
saying this is important. You're bringing community around it. I mean, it reminds me of the Oak Cliff Run Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of a little bit where it's like, hey, we value this. We're going to bring people together.
Correct,
And
correct. Yes.
And so you were meeting at the restaurant. This was the restaurant your parents owned, right?
Yes. It was regular business hours, but
Yeah.
people would be having breakfast probably at the time. I was getting all of these people forming line
yeah.
outside and then going for somehow smoothies and some other beverages that we were going for, because my
Sounds
idea
great,
was
Jorge.
yeah, man, I'm craving for something like that. But
Some smoothies?
it
Let's
was
do it.
it was so cool because my idea at that particular time, it was to have a small shop next to the restaurant. So you would be looking at someone like me fixing on their bikes while you were either eating or having
Yeah.
a light wait before or after riding. And I was in a very particular ways in a very well located
Reminds me.
building.
Yeah, it reminds me. I've seen it in Austin a lot. There used to be one off of
Yeah.
Beckley,
Yeah.
too. It was like more of a motorcycle shop, but it was like, you could get your coffee or your smoothie,
Correct.
and it's like, it's a way to bring kind of the retail and the
Yeah.
experience all together, and it kind
Correct.
of feeds off each other. That's cool.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think of the place in Northwest Arkansas. What's the name of the pizza place
yes. We have some friends in Northwest Arkansas,
Okay.
and it's apparently Mountain Bike Central. They've just invested a lot into that area to make mountain biking a thing, as you probably know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then when you think of mountain biking, Oak Cliff, don't we have some good trails at is it Cedar Ridge?
Well,
where-
yeah,
tell us about it.
Yeah, the nature preserve, Boulder Park.
Yes, that's
and,
it.
and there are a few others.
Yeah.
Lately, to tell you the truth, I
Tell
have
us
to
the
be
truth,
very honest.
Be honest.
I haven't been able to ride as much. I had an accident way back in early 2000.
Okay.
It was a car accident. But, that's exactly when I was really going for the peak in my
Oh yeah.
good days
Yeah.
of a mountain biker, and it put me off
Okay.
for regular ways, competition like riding for many years. I'm still having issues with my back, but I still ride. Only thing is I'm not going to the parks, but
Right.
only every now and then I go easy,
Okay.
I go with some other friends or some of the guys working for me. But lately, the idea when I said that is to connect again, go with Dorba, which are organizing very well and very nicely organized
Tell us about that.
for going for that. Yeah, Dorba, it's very much involved in organizing and taking care of these parks.
Okay.
Okay, so they take care of the people as well.
Yeah.
While you go, if you don't know on how to do, and you need to join a group so that you can learn about
Yeah.
Yeah.
cycling in the trails, they would have always somebody to help you.
There's some support,
guide
yeah.
you, and then give you support. Yes, correct. So yeah, they are a very cool group of people. We were collaborating and contributing for many of the ways they need support, and that is basically sometimes go clean, go prep, the area
Yeah.
for riders to go safely, mark properly the trails and all these kinds of things. We did, but it was probably last time like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going or trying to go back to all of that, but it takes time,
Yeah, for sure.
Either you go fixing bikes and selling and,
Yep.
and helping people in the process, and
And all your free time. Too.
Yeah.
I
all
know
your
you-
free time.
I know you've got
goes
tons of
into it. So, but I mean, it's amazing. Whenever I can, I go check and,
Good.
and see these guys
Oh, that's
working.
good. Yeah, and it's cool that you're connected to
Oh yeah,
it very much still, even though you maybe don't do it as often as you
Correct.
used to. But today's show is brought to you by Oak Cliff Brewing Co. Are you interested in unwinding and connecting with neighbors over a great beer? Then go visit Oak Cliff Brewing Co. They've got a great tap room with all sorts of great beers on tap. It's a full production brewery here in the heart of Oak Cliff. Visit oakcliffbrewing.com to find out what's on tap right now and where you can find fresh beer made right here in Oak Cliff.
yeah.
So you were getting involved in actually setting up bikes back in that time of your life.
It was the 80s.
In the 80s,
early
okay.
80s. Yeah.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
And,
80s.
and then didn't you end up...
The
Early,
80s.
in the 80s.
Someone just gave me a cassette the other day.
And
I was
you were
like,
born
man,
in the 90s, right?
Nah, man, I'm in the 80s.
I was
This
in the
guy's in the
80s.
90s.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Dude,
a
I know
90s
the 80s. so-
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so you eventually made your way to Europe, isn't that right?
Yeah, correct. I had this dream, since I was little, and of course, racing and all that related into the process. I said one of these days I'm going to go to France, to Paris and
Yes.
to the Tour de France is going to be amazing. But my idea was to really go to England in particular. I liked the idea basically because I needed to learn the language. I needed to go for something different, and everything seemed to be very much appealing. And I did in the 80s when we started to go for mountain biking.
Yep.
I had the option, and I sold my car, my nice stereo, I remember, and all of my furniture and whatever I had for my
Whatever you could, yeah.
little apartment I was going for. I studied architecture in Mexico. So my idea was to continue studying architecture in
In London.
London,
Yeah.
in specific at an arts and design school, very, very nice ways in a very old building, because I went there actually. But only that everything changed once I was there. Economics were really bad, and,
Yeah.
and they shut off and down and closed all
Yeah, it was
the
tough.
projects they had for
Tough economic times.
Yeah, economic times were rough, but nevertheless interesting, for a foreigner that goes to learn and
new
then
country
struggle.
and
And I was there just having fun by the idea of knowing that it was my dream, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm still going for dreams, still for the bikes and some other things, you know.
Good.
But the idea is, I made it happen. I was related to bikes as well. I fixed an old, what was the name of it? Well, it was a Shrimp bike. I don't remember what was the model, but I started to go riding
Oh, cool.
in the city,
Yeah.
moving around, you know, commuting, looking for a job. I was obviously taking classes for like a couple of months or maybe well over 3 months, but then soon after they started to cut
Yeah.
these grants, you know, for foreign students, and all these kinds of things changed. But I kept on going to every single bicycle shop that I could find in the process of transporting myself, you know, and,
Yeah.
and then moving around. And they were so cool, very much like Mexico and
Yeah.
Latin American countries, because they have small shops,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and the regular ways, you know, the usual ways is the owner, a couple of guys, a small shop. You just have 3-4 bikes
Yep.
that are brand new probably, and a few that are good used. And the guys working there, you know, all dirty and talking about the races and the plans as for what it comes to be, you know, for their ways in
Right.
particular. But lots of people traveling on bikes.
Yeah.
And I was traveling soon after 8 months. I was living there. I was traveling around England, Scotland. I went to Ireland as well, and I met with lots of guys, you know,
cool.
and gals as well, you know, going for.
You just get to take in as much as you
Oh,
can.
yeah. It
and
was
there's
amazing.
There's such culture too to those bike shops. My roommate in college, he worked at a cycle shop in College Station, and then he also worked at one in Boulder, Colorado, for a while.
Nice.
And it's just like these epicenters that they're passionate about the cycling. It's a community of its own. They're pushing each other. They're learning from each other. It's pretty special to see. So
Yeah.
I'm sure seeing it over in Europe was special. While you were over there, did you get to see the tour or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. It was close to summertime, where they hold
Yeah, of course.
the races and the different stages they go
Yeah.
for. And so I was there. Only I wasn't feeling too good, you know, because of my problem with an issue with not yet having issues with my back. I remember
Right,
because
right.
of the accident, but that particular times it was the flu.
Oh,
That
okay.
I was catching, you know,
Oh,
when,
no.
when I
Yeah.
was traveling.
Yeah,
But I was there.
you were there. You saw.
Now you.
What stage, or do you know? You remember?
I don't remember.
yeah.
That's something I have to admit. I'm
Oh, you're
not
good.
aware of as for what it happened really, because I was so much into trying to be strong enough, you know, to
To
be
get there, yeah.
But I was there up until a certain time, and then I had to go back to
Yep.
the hotel.
Yeah.
And I crashed,
Yeah.
you know, for
Yeah.
like a couple of days.
You got to see it with Caleb.
I did,
and
yeah.
I
We-
think like
we-
he got like all the American garb that you could on.
We were the
and
most
really-
obnoxious Americans
They
there.
were just
Wow.
doing
But we-
a cobblestone, or was it?
It was a
like-
cobblestone
Yeah.
stage,
Okay,
which was
okay.
very, very fun to watch. But you're right; it's an ordeal because it's
Yeah.
oftentimes in the middle of just a nowhere. I mean, kind of,
Correct.
and you got to go park on the side of the road and
Countryside
countryside,
somewhere,
and
Yeah.
you wait and wait and wait, and finally, everything comes. The first cars come through, flying in, and it's over in a couple minutes. But it's so
That's the
worth
thing.
seeing. It's so
It's
cool.
worth it. Oh,
Yeah.
That's the pinnacle, right? You know, so
It's
you get to
Yeah.
look at the pinnacle. Another thing you said earlier, it was reminding me, just growing up with the cycle culture or bike culture in Mexico. When we were in Mexico City, we got to see they shut down a street and everyone was walking, but mostly it's biking.
Oh, yes, yes,
Do
yes.
you know what it's called, or do you remember what it was? It was amazing to watch though, because it was like a main street, like almost like if you shut down Jefferson Boulevard, and everyone just was like going down that day. But
Yeah, I
it
remember
was a part of the city's kind of
Jason Roberts, I think, talked about it at one point.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's almost like a holiday type
was
thing where you just shut
every
down
Sunday.
the
Yeah.
every Sunday.
Yeah,
That's
I think
right.
it
Yeah,
was
they
every
just shut
Sunday.
down the whole main street. But
I think they call it as simple as biking day.
Yeah,
you know, it's
something-
or bike day. It's
Yeah.
an institutional way to go now for a combination of efforts from the government and the society. You know, in general, is to contribute to the Um,
Health and
well, health more than anything for once, but then the other one is have less pollution.
Oh, like environmentally,
like
yeah.
environmentally, yeah, protecting the planet, or for what it means, which I love, by the ways, and that's how I connect also to bikes, and since it's, I don't know, a lot of connectivity with everything that has to be with being a human being, and that is also for architecture, and then thinking about all of what this means, an empty space that then you can transform and go for many different ways to make it productive in the sense of put it to work, for once, but organically and properly as for what it means, taking care of health for once, and then making people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, so bikes are a way to connect with the good ways of the environment for once, and then connecting to people and relate to being, I don't know, very, very close to life in
Yeah,
a way.
it can be integrated into so many parts of your life.
Yeah, correct.
It can be just a transportation tool. It can be a sport. It can be
Commuting.
a community.
Yeah.
Community. It can be so many things wrapped in one.
Correct.
Oh, that's cool. So you were in London for a bit. You got to see the tour.
Yeah.
How did you land in Oak Cliff?
Man, it was back in 2010, I think, the first time I came here. And it was basically because I was going to go for remodeling a commercial small site where they were going to go for opening a new business. And they wanted for me to take a look and give an opinion and so on. All this because there is family-related contributions here and there, for them living here, us living in El Paso, and so on. So, hey, why don't you help? Why don't you take a look? Why don't you give your opinion or whatever? So we came and we started to go for things on regular ways, and then making a plan. And soon after, my wife liked so much, the city for all of what it brings. I mean, it's amazing. If you compare to El Paso, not to put down El Paso, but I mean, it's desertic all the way and very plain. And from there on, it was like, I like it, I like it, I like it. So we started to go back to El Paso, back to Mexico, and it was every other month probably. And then we started to have the idea of maybe putting into perspective, the options about moving.
Yeah.
Because to me, it was amazing, for architectural ways, the design district. Oak Cliff I liked very much because I had the opportunity at that particular times of talking to some people that have a lot of idea of the history of the place, as for what it means back in the days. It was the actual downtown of Dallas and the center of the economics, and for whatever it came to be, it was big houses in all these area, important people
There's a
living
story
here.
behind all of this stuff.
Historically, very important. So we were going like, hey, nice, cool, and all of a sudden, and I don't know when, but my wife said, I'm not going back, okay? I like it very much. And to tell you the truth, there was something else. It's the insecurity and all the issues that started to rise very rapidly in Mexico, for the drug cartels and all these kind of things. I had a business in Mexico in that particular time, and it was difficult. It was really getting difficult. We finally decided to do right on time without really having to deal with too much of the craziness that started to go with the unsafe ways, for people to be dealing with, or insecurity. And finally, 2011, I was making plans to move my business from El Paso to Dallas.
Yeah.
And I kept on going for a few projects and working with some other people, into whatever comes to
Yeah.
be remodeling and
Yeah.
so on and on. But I brought my bike, so I started to ride in Oak Cliff, and I loved it. And I said, even when I didn't know for a fact or for sure that it was going to be here, I said, I like it. We're going to do living in a very particular ways here. And boom, it happened.
Just like that.
And just like that. And I've been going very happily living here for almost 15 years.
That's amazing. I love that.
Amazing. Yeah, very
That
quick.
is
very
awesome.
fun.
I feel like, landing in Oak Cliff, we've heard this from other people too, but it's like it does kind of draw certain people in that want to either build like that or how would you describe the bike community in Oak Cliff right now? And was it welcoming when you were kind of here, or curious
Yes.
how that's been?
Very much welcoming. Yes, it's. I started to go riding, as I told you, and that was also to get to know more the area. And then I was starting to see more and more people riding. Families, couples, and then a few organized rides they were having. I would know about more by talking to people, and since the origins of making the transition of having the business that I was going for in El Paso, I moved here to Davis Street,
Yeah.
Yeah, off
close to
Davis.
the Kessler Theater,
Yeah.
right across actually.
Yeah.
It is that I was having the fortune, of having way too many people to meet with and talk about, and then go riding, and then I was helping them fixing their bikes because one of my ideas since I was in England, it was a mobile type of service where I would go for a big van, and have all my tools and parts and accessories and everything, and
Yeah.
then go like any of the vehicles they use for support,
Yeah.
the races,
Oh, interesting.
but then go
With
everything to fix, but for regular ordinary people.
Yeah, kind of like a
us.
Yeah.
bicycle shop on
Exactly.
on wheels.
Exactly. So I kept on dreaming and going for that kind of business. So I started here, having the other business, which was very particular ways. It was a flower shop and a gift shop combined, and very original ways, very nice. But bikes kept on going in the ways all the time for my plans. And so I did start in my neighborhood offering to whomever I was meeting with, hey, if you need anything with your bikes, I can do for you, and so
Yeah.
on and on and on. And everybody was kind enough, to invite me and then recommend me in many different several cases. Sorry. And then that's how I started to go for developing the concept, both concepts, the regular brick and mortar and also the mobile services by having the service on wheels.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I love that you were starting out by just telling your neighbors, "Hey, do you need some help with your bikes?" And
Correct.
it snowballed. It sounds like from referral to referral.
Correct.
You eventually landed here at Tyler Station, and do you remember what year that was? I was trying to remember if that was
2019.
2019. Okay.
2019.
Right behind the TX studio, and then
That's
you kept
right.
growing and growing, and
Exactly.
you got. I
When
know.
you
I
were
know.
needing some
I know.
That's right.
We
ways to
were
go.
neighbors. Yeah, yeah.
lowering the sound.
I know.
Well, what is it about bicycle life and the job of helping people get their bikes fixed,
Correct.
use their bikes well? What is it to you that keeps drawing you in? It sounds like it's more than just fixing bikes for
Oh,
you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What would you say is the kind of driving mission behind your business?
I can honestly say that is a passion, and thanks to one of my customers, we have this ways of saying that we are providing with honesty the ways to solve and resolve some of the issues and problems that you have for transportation, enjoyment, or anything related to connect with a bike.
Yeah.
And when this person in particular told one of my guys what is exactly that we are going for, and then he wrote it down, I said, man, I mean, amazing, because
Yeah.
I could have not really go exactly the same way he's describing for something that sounds a bit cliche, if you want, but I truly say it's an honest approach to life. Biking for once, and then all the people that you relate to it. And obviously, helping means not only solving those problems on that particular bike, but very, very clear to me when we started in that very small space that you were talking about in 2019, it is that I met with some people having very big issues with their health. One of them in particular, very, very heavy, going for overweight for many years. And when he comes in, this is very interesting. I hope you feel
Yeah.
the same ways. He comes in. He goes like, I need a bike. He's struggling to move. And then there was somebody else looking at him going like, really? Him, a bike?
Right.
Wow. And then I'm going like, yes, sure. Not a problem. Okay, let me see. And then he goes like, I know it's not easy. It's going to be difficult, but is there a way I can get a bike having this condition?
Right.
I'm going to try, man. I'm going to try. So finally, long story short, I found a bike strong enough, heavy duty, and off he goes with his bike. After months, a little bit before the pandemic, he comes back having an issue with the bike. I fix, and then he's going like, I needed to do, and he was heavily breathing, I needed to do because my doctor said, either you take the right decision by going for your health or you're going to die. As simple as that.
Wow.
So I'm feeling better. Then the pandemic, soon after another year, then he comes back and he's getting slimmer and, well, not as slim that particular times yet, but he was losing weight.
Yeah. You could see the results
I
from
could
his.
see the results.
Wow.
So he kept at it. We talked, in the process and all that, and then he came to say, well, it's difficult because of now the pandemic, but I'm still going for it, on, and thank you. He only said thank you. I said, no, thank you, man, for supporting the business, supporting local, and taking care of yourself, and that's it. Part of the long story is that after 4 years, he comes back, being absent for like another year or so. And then he basically is slimmer now, I can say.
Wow.
Do you remember me? And then I'm going like, oh man, kind of. And then, yes, it's you. Hey, good to see you. Man, oh, it's so cool. Wow, I made it happen. So thanks to this bike. So it's not to say that it was thanks to me, but I mean, I was part of it.
You got to help.
You get to be a
to
part of
help.
that journey.
And you didn't tell him no.
Yeah,
You didn't tell him he
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah.
He was too big for a bike.
Exactly.
You got him on one that would work for him, and
Yeah,
really sounds like it really altered his life.
exactly. And then he says, I'm alive thanks to the bike you sold to me. I still have, but now I have this one that I got as a gift, whatever. So from there on, you connect to all these experiences, because I can tell you way too many cases in many different ways as for what they mean to me, as for what they meant for these people in that particular times, But it is people actually that makes it happen. It's not bikes itself, okay?
Yeah.
They are a vehicle. They are not a toy. That I have to put it in clear, okay? Because many people go like, well, it's like a toy, But no. It is an extension of yourself. in many different ways. It is that you project yourself by going on a bike. You know, it could be just around the block or commuting to work. Or training for getting in shape, or really going for competition like riding. You know, all these different ways connect in the same ways to me. You know, every bike counts, everybody matters. So that's the philosophy that we have in the business. It's we don't exclude, we don't put off anybody, you know, like going,
it's approachable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we have to.
You're also experts in it. you
Yes.
know? Yeah.
Well, somehow.
No.
We have to open up, you know,
Well, I think
the
that's-
ways of the channels of communication with people, so that we don't offend anybody.
It's
you know,
hard
for
when
that
you're
matter.
really good at something that it can come across. I do feel like that's one of the challenges is like, hey, how do you be approachable when you're like still really good at these things like cycles?
Okay.
So
I get it.
man, that's awesome. That's an amazing story. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, but yeah, I mean, Oak Cliff Bike Synergy, it's like kind of the place in Oak Cliff to do this and to
Man, thank
interact. And you've made like this a center point. How have you seen Dallas is such a car-centric city, and I feel like Oak Cliff is still like a little bit more accepting of the cycle community in sorts, but it does kind of still feel like a quiet rebellion being in the cycle culture. Have you seen any of that, or is that kind of at work in the neighborhood or in Dallas today?
It's getting better, but very slowly, unfortunately, I have to say. There are many efforts they are going in the city to connect to the ideas of doing more. And I say ideas because many times it's just that.
Yeah.
And then they do, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
And then the problem right now is all of the streets and the bike routes that we have, and the bike lanes, I should say, are very, very dirty. Okay?
Dirty, and they're not upkept. Like when we're driving down
Not well
Tyler,
kept.
I see cars just like destroy the
little barriers.
Oh, yeah, the barriers that
yeah.
they
Yeah.
mark.
It's
the
a first.
space.
I guess an incremental step. I don't know. I've heard other people who are very passionate about this kind of say like, no, you have to. It's actually better to protect even more. I know when they were talking about downtown Elmwood, the need for doing this well, that came up a lot.
Yeah, to your point though, I think I can remember going down a bike trail and getting a nail in my bike tire,
glass, nail,
and glass,
whatever,
and it there's a lot of trails that need attention.
Yeah.
But we are starting to see a lot more trails form
and connecting
and
I think,
connecting
was
to
it
each
Philip
other.
Height,
Yeah,
was
he
doing
was
a lot of work on that at some point.
doing great work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not to be criticized. I have
That's
to
okay.
point
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
you know, but just to make it aware of for what it's really happening. Basically, people that are coming from out of town, people from Austin,
Sure.
San Antonio, Houston.
Yeah.
Well, but mainly Austin. They go like, "How do you do?" People from
It's just not there yet.
California,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
there yet. It's a non-friendly bike city.
And it's unforgiving, a car to a bike. I think that's one of the things that if we're serious about it, you have to make it comfortable or protected for the cyclist to an extent, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I will say though, I see a lot of people in Oak Cliff
It's
riding
the place.
bikes.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
yes.
granted, this is where I live, so it's like
Yeah.
easier to say
No,
this
but
is where I
that's-
see it. But like, I do see more and more. You know, if you're staying in Oak Cliff, you can kind of get around. It's
that
just,
in East Dallas.
In
White
East
Rock
Dallas,
Lake.
true,
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Many times, some people have better ways to relate to it than others, basically because they keep on looking and
Yeah.
searching, you know, for the best options and routes.
Yeah.
But in some cases, when there are people that want to follow only by the bike lanes, unfortunately, they stop at a certain point, and
Right.
then you don't know where direction to go for, you know,
No, it's
unless you
true.
go for the app
right.
on your phone, you know.
Yeah, and I've seen like our friend Andrew Wallace.
Takes it all the time.
He's very intentional about using his bike, but he'll use the dart and his bike to get around too.
Yeah,
like he'll do a combination of things.
I think about our wild hare when we would go from Elmwood to the Trinity River, and we would take like,
How did we
I think
even
you helped
get
me
there?
with a road bike at one point, but it wasn't. We haven't done it.
Probably
yeah.
so. No.
Right,
Yeah, but I
yeah.
have helped sometimes. Yes.
Yeah.
You have your old
But
Bianchi somewhere.
That's it.
You
Yeah.
need
For
to
a while
dust that thing off.
Yeah.
I'll get my Cannondale out and we
there
can
you
go.
Yeah.
Get back on our bikes.
But even
We're long
that,
overdue.
it was like a little taste of like, okay, I'm going through all these neighborhoods to get to this trail.
Right.
Right.
And it's sometimes it's great, but then also you make sure you have an air can
Yes.
or something with you that like
You have
helps
to
you
be
get
prepared.
through. You do.
know, and-
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. There
Well-
is no other ways, actually.
How can people, and let's say maybe even specifically like Oak Cliff, how can Oak Cliff better kind of encourage and be a part of maybe some of the positive kind of ways to champion biking, kind of like in Mexico or one of these
Yeah,
places that valued that? How do you, like, for people who care about it, how do you think they can
That's a good
be a part of it?
This episode of The Hidden City is brought to you by Texas Talks, a monthly lecture series presented by Space, focused on sharing ideas for the neighborhood. Started in 2019 as a way to bring neighbors together to share ideas, learn from experiences, and expand the Oak Cliff mind. Check out the full library of past talks at thewackspace.com/Texas Talks and join us for our next live event with Kate McLeod on May 16th at 9 a.m. at Space.
We have talked, some of my customers and friends about it, and I think it is talk a bit more into for what it means to them on personal basis for members of the government, and the representative of the area where
Yeah.
you live at. In particular, the ways we go here and explain these needs for a better connection, to a better way to enjoy moving around on bicycles. And believe me, many people appreciate having a bike, having the opportunity to go further than just go around the block. But we all have this situation with then you encounter with a piece of furniture, then you see a lot of debris,
Yeah.
and then you have to go turning, to a different route, which is not exactly the one that is being marked
Yeah.
for that matter for bikes, and they get discouraged.
Yeah.
Sure.
So many people also go like, I have another flat and I have another flat. How come? Why? What can I do? So we provide with solutions, but it's not the idea, to make business by on cartoons.
Yeah.
Back in the days, I remember, with Tom and Jerry and
Yes.
many others would go like throwing nails,
That's
so
right.
that they would have business.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not
Fixing-
necessarily the way you want to.
Exactly.
No.
Get
I
your
wouldn't
business.
go doing like it.
Right.
Because some people go like, well, it's convenient for you, right? That the
Like-
city is very messy and not clean. Then I go, well, to a certain
Hard
degree.
to argue.
Yeah.
but yes,
Hard
but
to
also
argue,
we-
exactly,
But,
that's the
we
way.
want
But
this
people get
value.
discouraged, like you said,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
they give
yeah.
up biking.
Yeah. They put their bikes back in the garage hanging, for
Yeah.
another couple of months.
Guilty.
and-
You and I are guilty of that. But yeah, no, and you should connect with Chad West more on that. I feel like having like a Jefferson
Well,
right
I
there
don't
would
want to
be-
use names,
No,
but
no. Why not?
well, yeah. Chad, hello.
Yeah, Chad.
We need you. We need you.
We need you, Chad.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's, again, I think like encouraging people, like you said, to come see at the shop. You're the place you're very approachable to come in if you're just like, hey, I want to rent a bike. I want to figure out if I
Right.
can even try this. That's just like the great spot to start when you're in Oak Cliff, kind of thinking through that. So
Sometimes I regret when I don't have enough time to talk to everybody, and when they need some time for going for these kinds of things. And basically, as much as I can contribute. But finally, I I can say in December, in particular, one of these guys that work at the city with the planning and developing and whatever, he's an architect there. He brought me a map of the new routes
Oh, cool.
and trails and ways, to move around on bikes.
Yeah.
It is good, not exactly as for what he says, the ways they are planning to really do, with a better explained, more graphic
Yeah.
approach,
Yeah.
know. But they are little by little doing a bit more. Only problem is now you have the bike, but then you cannot ride on the streets. That's lately it's been heavy, I can say.
Yeah.
Many people complaining. And
Like traffic or like, what do you mean?
Both.
Like, okay.
yeah, both. One of my customers called going like, I need a wheel. And why? Because of an accident I had. But listen to the kind of accident he had. Somebody hit him, he knocks him down, but then he pulls back, trying to run the car over the bike and him.
Oh my goodness. So it
Yeah,
was like an attack?
Like an attack, and basically because he says he was getting mad, basically because I was passing him by, the right, which is the right ways for a bike,
Right.
when we were approaching a light signal or maybe getting to a corner, something like that. So he gets next to him, knocks him down, and then he goes in
My
reverse,
goodness.
messing up his back wheel, and then he says, I'll have to jump to the side. So many people are having a struggle on how to deal with
Sharing the road.
sharing the road, and that's I don't know yet on how to approach this kind of bad
You don't have
situation.
you
and
don't
that-
have necessarily the answer.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
don't have an answer to that, but it's as simple as so that you can understand a cyclist, get on a bike every now and then and see what it means.
Yeah,
and
just to put yourself in that
picture
spot.
yourself
Yeah.
on that particular ways. Yes, but it's crazy. I mean, there are more sad stories, related to this kind of things.
Right.
But
But
What can you do?
incremental steps.
Yeah.
Continuing to offer your services, which I always point people here anytime
Yeah.
they mention they need a bike or thinking about a bike or need some help with their bike. So keep it up, Jorge. Thanks for being on the show. It's
thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
great to catch up with you.
It was awesome, man.
Too much
Appreciate
to
it.
talk about, too little time, but
Hey, we'll
that's
come
the way
back.
it goes. So thank you again.
Appreciate you.
See ya.
All right. I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Hidden City. We hope you discovered something about Oak Cliff that you didn't know. If you enjoyed the show, I hope you subscribe to it on YouTube and then follow us on any of the podcasting platforms. Also, if you enjoyed it, please share with a friend. And thanks so much for tuning in.